So Nova Scotia is on this huge mission to completely transform its energy grid. And the really cool part is it's inviting pretty much everyone to get in on the action. And right at the heart of all this change is a brand new idea that puts power, literally, into the hands of communities, the Community Solar Program. Let's dive in and break down exactly how this whole thing works. Everything really starts with this one big number, 80%. That is the massive, legally mandated goal Nova Scotia has to hit for renewable electricity by 2030. This isn't just a suggestion, it's the law. And pulling it off means a complete overhaul of the energy system, which sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about. So, to help get to that 80%, the Community Solar Program is designed to add a huge chunk of new power. We're talking up to 100 megawatts of new solar generation. Now, to put that into perspective, that's enough clean juice to power over 10,000 homes. And this isn't about some giant faceless utility project. It's all about bringing solar down to the local community level. So what in the world is a community solar garden? Well, the analogy here is just perfect. Think of a community vegetable garden, right? But instead of everyone getting a plot to grow tomatoes, you're all sharing a solar power plant that generates electricity for everybody. It's a shared system, which means if you can't put panels on your own roof, maybe you're a renter or your house is covered in shade, you can just buy a share in a local solar project instead. Okay, so when it comes down to it, there are basically two main ways you can jump into this whole energy revolution. You can either be a project owner, that's the person or group that actually builds the garden, or you can be a subscriber, someone who gets to benefit from all that clean power it's making. Let's just break that down a little bit more. On one side, you have the project owner. This is the organization that takes on the big job of building and running the solar garden. They're the ones who sell the electricity it generates to Nova Scotia Power. Then, on the other side, you have the subscriber. That's a regular person or a local business who buys a piece of that power and, as a thank you, gets a credit on their electricity bill. Okay, so here's a look at how the energy and the money actually move around. First, the solar garden makes electricity and sends it right into the provincial grid for everyone to use. Step 2, Nova Scotia Power pays the project owner for that energy. And finally, step 3, the subscribers who bought into the garden get a credit automatically applied to their monthly power bill. Pretty neat, right? All right, now for those of you out there thinking a little bigger, let's walk through what it takes to be a project owner. This is for the groups who really want to roll up their sleeves and help build Nova Scotia's clean energy future from the ground up. And what's really amazing here is the variety of who can actually lead one of these projects. This program isn't just for the big energy corporations. We're talking about nonprofits, local co-ops, Mi'kmaq bands, towns and cities, and even universities. It's been intentionally designed to empower communities to own a piece of their own energy grid. Now, the path to getting one of these approved is, well, it's pretty detailed, just as you'd expect for a major project. The full application has 14 different sections, but it really boils down to these 4 main stages. First, you've got to plan all the technical stuff, like finding a site and doing the engineering. Second, you have to get your community excited and on board. Third, you got to get your finances in order. And finally, you submit that whole package for approval. It's a serious undertaking for sure. And look, the government even acknowledges that this can be a really tough process, especially for smaller community-based groups. This quote actually comes from a review of an older solar program where nonprofits really struggle to compete. So the hope is that the lessons they learned back then will make this new program way more accessible for everyone this time around. But this is the payoff for all that hard work. A finished community solar garden is a powerful asset. Just a 1 megawatt project, which might take up about 4 to 6 acres, can generate enough clean electricity to power around 130 homes, year after year. But hey, you don't have to go out and build a whole solar farm to be a part of this. For most people, the easiest way to get involved is to become a subscriber. This is how the vast majority of Nova Scotians can get a direct benefit from the program. And the most direct benefit is right here. For every single kilowatt hour of electricity your share in the garden generates, you get a 2-cent credit on your power bill. Now, I know what you might be thinking, 2 cents? But when your share is generating thousands of kilowatt hours over a year, those credits really start to make a difference. Plus, and this is a big plus, that rate is locked in for 25 years. That means predictable savings for the long haul. So, who can sign up? The rules are actually pretty simple. You need to be a Nova Scotia Power customer, and you can't be in another solar program already. But the most important part is what you don't need. You don't need to own your home, and you don't need to have a sunny roof. This is a total game changer, opening up solar energy to renters, people in apartments, and so many others for the very first time. You also have total flexibility. You get to choose exactly how much of your electricity bill you want to offset with your solar subscription. You can start small at just 10% or go all in and cover 100% of your usage. It really puts you in the driver's seat of your own energy mix.
So let's zoom out for a second. Why does all of this matter so much right now? Well, this program isn't just happening in a bubble. It's a really important piece of a much, much bigger puzzle, a fundamental shift in how Nova Scotia makes and manages its electricity.
To get to that 80% renewable goal, the province is literally overhauling its entire energy system. This means creating new organizations to manage the grid and modernizing all the infrastructure to handle energy that flows in two directions, not just from a central power plant outwards, but also from thousands of small projects back into the grid. And this timeline just shows you how quickly things are moving. In 2024, the Energy Reform Act set all the new rules. By late 2025, a brand new independent energy system operator is going to take over managing the grid. Think of it like a neutral referee that makes sure everyone, from the big utility to these small community projects, gets a fair shot. And it's all building towards that massive 2030 deadline. And that brings us right back to the central idea here. The technology is ready, the government has set the goals. This community solar program is really a bet that local groups can step up and help build this new energy future themselves. So the question isn't if Nova Scotia's grid is going to change. The question is, who is going to lead that change? Will it be the communities?